Respected teachers, my name is Sean Johnson, and my topic for today's presentation is ecological restoration. I'm from S2 ME Beta. So, what is ecological restoration? Ecological restoration focuses on repairing the damage human activities has caused to natural ecosystems and seeks to return them to an earlier state or to another state that is closely related to one unaltered by human activities. The demand for natural resources skyrocketed, due to which the damage to environment is also at an alarming stage. Ecological restoration is done through carefully planned and monitored methods. So, why do we need ecological restoration? Let's take the example of forests. The forest ecosystem provides important services such as nutrient cycling, both for the animals that live there and for humans who use the forest for timber and recreation. To remain healthy, many forest species rely on periodic disturbances such as wildfires. However, some disturbances, such as deforestation, are so damaging that they may instead impair the normal functioning of the forest. This is the same for many ecosystems, such as in oceans where aquatic life is under threat. So, let's look for some of the effects of human activities on nature. I'll show you some images here. As you can see, pollution leading to toxic gases in the atmosphere, which leads to global warming. Plastics causing pollutions in the oceans, which leads to slow eradication of aqualife, and deforestation affecting soil quality and wildlife. So, need for ecological engineering, limited non-renewable resources. Our increasing need for non-renewable resources indirectly affects the environment around us. This suggests that the time has come for a sustainable engineering. A great number of environmental and ecosystem problems need an ecosystem approach. This is also because current solutions to environmental problems are only directed to one problem. The problem must satisfy all conditions rather than being directed to one problem. Let's take let's look at some of the approaches. So, the first way is removing the drivers. One way of removing is through drivers, which in turn helps nature restore herself. Driver means the cause of degradation, such as in case of forests, it's cutting of trees, and air pollution, which leads to toxic atmosphere. Removing these drivers help in natural restoration. So another way is restoration by reference. In this method, a degraded ecosystem is brought back to its previous state by using a reference ecosystem. A fundamental principle of ecological restoration is the identification of an appropriate reference ecosystem to guide project targets and to provide a basis for monitoring and assessing outcomes. The reference ecosystem can be an actual site or a conceptual model synthesized from numerous reference sites, field indicators, and historical and predictive records. A proper planning and identification of suitable ecosystems for reference takes place in this method. So here's a summary of everything I told in the previous slides. As you can see, deforestation and industrial agriculture or overgrazing leads to loss of biodiversity, climate change, and loss of livelihoods. And in an ecosystem restoration, erosion control, soil restoration, replanting will lead to intact ecosystems, sustainable livelihoods, and revert climate change. So, let's look at some of the recent developments. The first one here is the United Nations Decade on Ecosystem Restoration. It runs from 2021 to 2030. Similar to other nature-related international decades, its purpose is to promote the United Nations environmental goals, specifically to facilitate global cooperation for the restoration of degraded and destroyed ecosystems, along with fostering efforts to combat climate change, safeguard biodiversity, food security, and water supply. The overarching goal of the decade is to catalyze a nature-friendly movement that lasts beyond the 10-year time frame. So, the second method, low-cost practices are becoming widespread. Farmer-assisted natural regeneration techniques restore and restoring drylands. Also, ecological restoration projects are becoming a mainstream of research, and their studies are widely followed by scholars worldwide. Yet there is no comprehensive review of this research. Well, researches are being done. So, long-term restoration complexity. Multiple large-scale restoration strategies are emerging globally to counteract ecosystem degradation and biodiversity loss. Long-term goals should be focused as loss is too much for the environment. Eco-evolutionary feedbacks may help in understanding changes in the adaptive potential after disturbance of the meta-community hub species with core structural and functional roles for their use in restoration. Those changes can be studied for better understanding of the ecosystems. So the approach may set the knowledge basis for future tools to accelerate restoration of ecosystems. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time, and here are my sources. Thank you.